Morning, dear students. This is Sampat Bhadu, Assistant Professor of English, Government College, Sri Dungargad, Bikaner. Today, we are going to deck up in this series of lectures Hilaire Belloc's essay in praise of ignorance. Hilaire Belloc was born in 1870 in France of Anglo-French parentage. In addition to his essays, Belloc published historical monographs on Danton and Wopsy, and a few charming poems. Belloc is at heart a scholar, and even though the rambling style of his essays, the reader can mark the love of life well, assimilated scholarship and intellectual maturity. He was a scholar of considerable attainments in history. Some of his volumes of essays are on nothing, on anything, on something. In praise of ignorance. He, Hilaire Belloc is among the greatest writers of essays in modern times. He was a friend of G.K. Chesterton, but he was not primarily or instinctively a journalist like his friend Chesterton. He was a scholar of considerable eminence. His studies in history were particularly wide and deep. As an essayist, he is well known for his humor and ease. His prose style is, on the whole, free from journalistic peculiarities, though many of his essays were originally written for newspapers and periodicals. He is at heart a scholar, and even though the rambling style of his essays, the reader can mark the love of life, well assimilated scholarship, and intellectual maturity of the essayist. Belloc is a master of both long and short sentences. In a long sentence, he is usually emotional and poetic. In a short sentence, he is frequently ironical. Both these aspects, however, are beautifully integrated. The present essay, entitled In Praise of Ignorance, Belloc writes in a delightful and novel manner about ignorance. He wrote this essay on the model of Erasmus' book Moria Encomium, that is, the praise of in praise of folly. Dear students, this is very famous book, In Praise of Folly by Erasmus, and the present essay, In Praise of Ignorance, is actually modeled on Erasmus' In Praise of Folly. Hallock begins by saying that ignorance rules mankind. Our field of knowledge is very small compared to the vast oceanic field of our ignorance. We know really nothing even about those things which we believe are familiar things. Our ignorance about them is much more than our knowledge. He says that it is good to become conscious of our ignorance because knowledge of our ignorance is the first step towards learning. Most people regard the examination system as a menace. Menace means threat, a danger. They think that it does it does no good. However, Hilaire Belloc says that there is one good thing about examinations. What? It reveals to us our ignorance of many of the things which we are supposed to know. Belloc humorously states that ignorance has a spiritual attribute. It floods the mind with happiness. Belloc says that ignorance is a very draught of beatitude. means a draught of happiness. In Belloc's view, all our loves, all our hero worships, all our dramas, all our hopes of peace in future, and our vision of fortune are the fruits of ignorance. Often we are happy only because we do not know how others are thinking about us. We think that they are friendly to us and they have love and respect for us. But in fact, it all falls short. In fact, they just tolerate us. They have many grudges against us, but they do not express their real feelings in our presence. Belloc says that, in comparison to our knowledge, our ignorance is vast, but ignorance keeps us always happy. We look at our beautiful landscape, it makes us happy. Its charm attracts us. But if we knew the wicked people living therein, our happiness would vanish or perish. We depart from our friends with the thought of their love and affection for us. But if we knew their real thoughts and views about us, they would make us sad. We face great difficulties and situations bravely only because we do not know what would happen in future. The ignorance of the future happenings make us do great adventurous deeds. If we knew the results of our adventurous deeds, we would not face the danger. In this way, ignorance has many advantages in life. It keeps us happy, it makes us do brave deeds, brave works. Hilaire Belloc gives an interesting example of a man who was proud of his happy and successful life. He was like the successful businessman of advertisements. In a luncheon, he told the writer that he was deeply satisfied with his life. Within 24 hours, he got wounded in a car accident. His jaw was broken, and now he would never boast of his happiness. His ignorance of the coming accident kept him happy. Thus, ignorance brings in happiness. He concludes his essay saying, in consideration of all this, I thank God for my own ignorance, and though it is unfortunately less than that of most people, I flatter myself it will serve. He says, it is by ignorance alone that we advance through the rough seas of this mortal life. The metaphor is not original. I do not claim it so. I copy it from others. Were not men ignorant of what lay before them, no one would face the adventure. Let's take it again. Belloc says, it is by ignorance alone that we advance through the rough seas of this mortal life. Were not men ignorant? If the men had not been ignorant of what they lay before them, no one would face the adventure. Dear students, through the present essay, Hilaire Belloc tries to establish the supremacy of ignorance over knowledge. What Erasmus praises in his essay In Praise of Folly, Erasmus says that folly is better than wisdom. Foolish people are always happy simply because they don't think much about the others. They talk foolishly. They don't feel insulted. They don't feel disrespected. In the same lines, Hilaire Belloc also talks about the supremacy of ignorance over knowledge. Belloc says that the genre, the zone, the area of ignorance is vaster than that of knowledge. And ignorance is better than knowledge simply because knowledge gives us tension, depression, disappointment, hopelessness, sadness. The more knowledge you have, the more tense you are, the more sad you are, the more thoughtful you are, because you feel bothered about the entire world. You think uselessly about the entire world. You pick up the burden of the entire world. You try to solve all the problems from your perspective, from your angle, simply because you have knowledge of the things. Suppose you are ignorant of the world, you don't know about the global happenings, the national happenings, or the incident that take place in your state, in nation, or across the world. If you are ignorant about them, you don't feel much bothered about them. You feel just happy and satisfied. Simply because you are concerned about your own concerns. You are concerned about your own matters, of your own family. Take for example of the farmers, of the laborers. They are happier than we people are. They are happier than the prime minister of our country, than the president of our country, than the chief minister of our country. Simply because the farmers or the laborers, they only think about their stomach, about their own concerns. They don't think much. They don't feel tense. And that is why they are happy. It's quite logical, dear students. The pressure, the tension, the consideration, the concerns that the CM has, the PM has, or any of the responsible person has, they are very tense, they are very much pressurized, they feel bothered about the entire nation, about the entire state. So Hilary Belloc, he praises the virtue of ignorance. That's all for today, and have a nice day.